Welcome into the sports news. We got a jam-packed show. We're talking prep sports, Olympic sports, professional sports. We're going to cover it all. But first up is the headlines brought to us by the Red Zone over on Regent Street and Conant Automotive in Stoughton. Stick around. The sports news is coming up next. Welcome on into the sports news, your 30-minute look into the tackles, hits, checks, and dunks that make up the local sports scene. I'm your host, Rich Reynolds, and let's hit the ground running. They say all good things must come to an end. Well, at least Geoffrey Chaucer inked those words in the 14th century and surely never envisioned that they would be used to describe the home winning streak of the Madison Radicals. But the end came Saturday night as the Radicals fell at home for the first time in 32 games, losing in the AUDL semifinals 26-25 to the Seattle Cascades at Breese Stevens Field. Now, the Rads had finished the regular season undefeated at 14-0, won a playoff game against Pittsburgh before finally bowing out in front of a huge crowd at historic Breese Stevens. Well, on the eve of the NFL preseason kicking off in Canton, Ohio, Brett Favre was enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame on Saturday night. Favre won 3 MVP titles in a row, as well as a Super Bowl ring when the Packers beat the Patriots back in Super Bowl 31. Well, the weekend wasn't without drama, as there usually is with Favre, as many Packers fans were upset by the fact that Minnesota Vikings gear is so prominently displayed in Favre's shrine. But Favre delivered a stirring speech and pulled one out once again. Speaking of the NFL, you can catch live NFL action right here on Channel 57 Thursday night as the defending Super Bowl champion Denver Broncos take on the Chicago Bears. Well, despite having a slew of returning starters, the Wisconsin Badgers failed to make the top 25 in the recently released Amway Coaches Poll. With 82 votes, it would make Bucky 27th overall in football. Alabama holds the top spot, while Clemson, Oklahoma, Florida State, and Ohio State round out the top 5. LSU, which is the Badgers' first opponent, is ranked 6th. Other Big Ten schools to be ranked include Michigan at 8th, Michigan State checks in at 11th, while Iowa is 15th. 5 of the Badgers' first 7 opponents are ranked in the top 15. Well, more bad news for one of the best Badger football players of all time. During his stay at Wisconsin, running back Monty Ball set an NCAA record for touchdowns. Now, at just the age of 25, Ball finds himself behind bars. On Friday in Dane County Circuit Court, Ball was sentenced to 60 days in jail as he pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor battery charge and 2 domestic disorderly conduct charges. Ball also has to serve out an 18-month probation. The plea agreement included charges from 2 domestic violent incidents involving 2 women in Madison. Now, Ball had won the Doak Walker Award in 2012, which is presented to the nation's top running back. And they'll be dropping the puck before you know it as the Madison Capitals announce their schedule for the upcoming season. Already with a new team president and head coach, the Caps' busy offseason finally concluded with the schedule coming out. The Capitals will play 4 games on the road before the home opener on Friday night, October 14th, against the Green Bay Gamblers, that over at the Alliant Energy Center. Now the Capitals are entering their 3rd season in the USHL, which is the top tier of junior hockey in the United States. Well, for more information and all the 411 on our headlines, check out these fine websites. Stick around. We have a jam-packed show as we'll talk Stoughton sports with the Stoughton cheer team, the outdoors with Swiftwaters. We'll talk some Middleton athletics, and we go inside the ring with James McIntyre and Twisted Fitness. That's next, right here on the Sports News on Channel 57 Sports. All right, let's go inside the ring right now as we bring in a familiar face. Hey, that's Gemini James McIntyre there. He's got some friends with him as well. That's Mark and Sonia Plafkin are here. They're with Twisted Fitness, and everybody welcome on in. And if you could, tell us a little bit about Twisted Fitness. Where are you located? What's it all about?
Well, we're located inside Ford's Gym, so we're in the upstairs of Ford's Gym. We're right there next to James McIntyre, so we got a great boxing program downstairs, and upstairs we're teaching Muay Thai kickboxing and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
And so Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, what is that technically?
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a grappling art, so it's an art that starts on the feet, and the goal is to take the opponent down and usually out-position them, looking for a submission hold, an arm lock, or a choke.
Okay. Now, the people that you end up training, is it predominantly young people and young adults?
No, the misconception, I think, is that it's a young person sport and it's predominantly a male-dominated sport. And really, we have people of all ages, men, women, children, people of all shapes and sizes that train jiu-jitsu. It's really a sport for everyone.
Yeah, now I had that misconception basically that, hey, it's guys and young guys and alpha males, that are basically into it. So I was even going to ask you, like Sonia, as far as being a woman in that sport, how was it to get the word out there to other women that, hey, this sport also can include you?
Well, when I started in the sport about 17 years ago, it was predominantly a male sport. There were very few women doing jiu-jitsu, especially in the Midwest. I feel very fortunate that our academy has an environment that really makes a safe, nurturing environment for women and has helped us grow the sport. I received my black belt in February from my head coach, Jacare, which is a huge accomplishment. I became his second female American black belt. I feel really honored, but I'm also very thankful that I have the opportunity to have accomplished what I've accomplished and be able to pass my knowledge on as a coach, an instructor, and help other women grow in the sport and help our team grow.
I know you look tough, so congrats on that black belt. I'm not surprised about that. Tell me, guys, do you end up focusing a lot on competitions?
I think there's that misconception. We have a really strong competition team, and being part of the Alliance Jiu-Jitsu team, we're the top team in the world for competitive jiu-jitsu. So I think everybody comes in expecting that the environment is a competition environment. And while we create a large amount of good competitors, the program is actually built for, as Sonia mentioned, people of all shapes and sizes. So people come in for self-defense, for a lot of other reasons. And from that, we tend to gain a strong competition team because we have so many members that train with us, where we can pool a large amount of people that are actually becoming good competitors.
Very cool. Now, we got about 10 seconds here. If people want to check you out, do you have any big events that are coming up?
Well, we just won Wisconsin State Championships for the second year in a row. We have Chicago Open next weekend in Chicago, and Sonia's going to head out to Vegas not too long after that and try to win at Masters Worlds.
Great stuff.
World Championship.
Ah, terrific. The Plafkins, Gemini James McIntyre, thanks for being here, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brought to you by Conan Automotive, taking care of you by taking care of your family's car. Well, hey, it's almost time to get back to school. It's also time for the football season to get started as well. Hey, there's a lot to cheer about, so why not bring in some cheerleaders from Stoughton Cheer, as we have Amanda, Avery, and India. They are all joining us. And ladies, thanks for joining us, and let's talk about cheer. What sports do you girls end up cheering for?
I cheer for football and wrestling.
I just cheer for football.
And I only cheer for basketball.
Oh, really? Okay, so you all do like different sports. I thought everybody just did it all together. So, okay, that's actually pretty interesting. So, talk about as far as cheerleaders go. How do you think cheerleaders can best represent basically their school and their teams?
I think the best way that our squad does it is mainly just staying positive, kind of having that mentality of having younger people look up to you, so you kind of watch what you're doing, and that's basically it.
Yeah, very important stuff. So that means you got to have some good characteristics. As far as characteristics go, what do you think are the three most important ones that a cheerleader needs to possess?
I think the first one is sportsmanship, being kind to the other teams, our football players and our student sections and other cheerleaders. The second one would be being positive, because we're cheerleaders and spirit is a good thing. And being a leader for our school, because we do wear SHS on our uniforms. So we need to represent in the uniform as well as outside the uniform.
Yeah, a lot of that can be contagious and get everybody going. And so as far as being contagious, getting that school spirit out there, name a couple of ways basically that you get the students, wanting to be involved and being a part of the games.
Well, the two main ways that we get students to attend our sporting events is we put up locker signs in the hallways for the football players and the cheerleaders themselves. We also put up hallway signs for big events like big games for basketball and football and wrestling. And then the second way is we just have fun with it, and we make the game really fun and make students want to be there.
Yeah, fun's always good. You know, there's more than students though that are involved. Teachers, school administrators and staff, stuff like that. How do you get them involved?
Kind of with teachers, it's a lot easier once you have like a teacher that you're really close with or a teacher that you kind of talk to on a daily basis. So I mean, that makes it a little bit easier. Another thing with getting teachers, like she said, locker signs or like signs in the hallway, like if they see that and like they're talking about it in class, you can be like, hey, you can come support me at the game, or come support the football players or any other team players that are playing. So
yeah, always exciting to get everybody involved, everybody cheering for the team down there in Stoughton. You guys got some good teams, so a lot to be proud of, a lot to be excited for. We'll be looking forward to that. Ladies, thanks for joining us here on the Sports News.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A special thank you to Conan Automotive in Stoughton for supporting local athletics.
Welcome back to the Sports News. I'm Ellen Barrett. And now, as we get closer to the Olympic Games, one American athlete is going for a repeat performance. In 2012, Kayla became the first American to take home a gold medal in the sport of judo. Now she's getting ready to head to Rio and defend that title. Kayla joins us from Boston to talk about the upcoming games, how she plans to defend her title, and what's on her horizon post-Rio. Kayla, thank you so much for being with us here today. Congratulations to you on making your way to the Olympic Games again, and I'm sure that is really exciting for you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm super excited. I'm ready.
Now, your story is so inspiring, and it's inspired people around the world. So how would you say sports and judo have inspired you in your life personally and, being as an Olympian?
Well, I think that sports emulate life, and sports teach us about winning and losing and about discipline and respect and perseverance. And I think they give us a lot of life lessons that, no matter what, I'll always have those with me, and I'll always be able to conduct myself with character because of judo.
Right, and I love the fact that you're involved with the Doc Wayne organization, and it's a great initiative for kids to, get into sports as a way to reduce at-risk behavior. And so can you tell us a little bit how you're involved with this program?
So I'm on the board with Doc Wayne, and really, for me, it made perfect sense when I saw what they were doing and how they were using sport as therapy, because judo was something that definitely was therapeutic to me when I was growing up and helped, again, mold me into a strong, confident young woman. So we're starting a judo program actually with Doc Wayne, and the goal is for my team to teach kids judo, maybe once a week or whatever it may be, so they can come and have fun and learn to throw people and just be kids for a while.
That's great. So what advice would you have for kids who are, really looking up to you as a role model, and they're looking at you and thinking, how can I get to the Olympic Games myself? What do they need to do?
I think the biggest advice I can really offer is that you need to set a goal, and you need to be realistic, and you need to do something every single day to try and reach that goal. And if you surround yourself with people who believe in you and you believe in yourself, there's nothing you can't accomplish.
Now, speaking of getting ready for the Olympic Games, what are you doing right now to prep for Rio and to get ready?
Well, we just finished a 2-week training camp, our last training camp before Rio, and now really it's all about rest, recovery, and staying smart and staying healthy and getting down to Rio in one piece.
Now, last year you won the gold. You were the first American to ever win gold in judo. So you kind of already have a taste of the cycle of media, and I'm sure, really just being a popular sensation across the world in your sport. So what advice would you have for new Olympians who are going through that cycle this year?
That's an interesting question. I guess I would just tell them to be themselves. That's what I try and do. And if you're true to yourself and your true character shines out, then everyone's gonna love you.
Now, speaking of your medal, I have to ask this. When you are at your house, where do you keep that big chunk of gold? Where do you keep that medal?
Good question. Well, I actually just let mine kind of hang around, but that's only because Liberty Mutual is the official medal protection partner of Team USA, so I know that I don't really have to worry about it. It's gonna be safe no matter where it is.
That's awesome. And I didn't even think about that. You probably do have to ensure that, and I'm sure that's something you need to have done, especially something so valuable as that, and that makes sense. And I also wanted to ask, because obviously we are a TV station, I'm a TV person. Now, when you're in the off season and you actually have time to watch TV and to relax a little bit, do you have any favorite shows that you love to watch?
I really don't. I like Modern Family because it makes me laugh, especially when I've had a bad day. And really, that's kind of all. I watched True Detective, and what else? My teammate's always trying to get me to watch like every show that's ever been made. She watches everything, but I don't know.
That's great. And so have to ask as well, what are your plans post Rio?
Me, a beach, and 2 gold medals.
That sounds great. Again, Kayla Harrison on the road to Rio. Thank you so much for being with us today. We wish you the best of luck.
All right, thank you so much. Have a great day.
The sports news will be back right after this. Stay tuned to Channel 57.
Hey, let's bring back some familiar faces. Well, not bring back to our show. I think they're unfamiliar to the sports news, but very familiar if you watch Channel 57. And that is Sean Gibbons and Connie Markham are here from Swiftwaters. And guys, welcome on in. And for those that aren't familiar with the program, what is Swiftwaters? Tell us a little bit about it if you could.
Well, hey, we're just finished up our season 3. We're coming into season 4, and we're all about hunting, specifically waterfowl hunting. We live and we reside here in Wisconsin. We've been here hunting for 20 plus years, and now we broach it out and we really chase the birds from the migration from the Canadian border all the way down to the Gulf Coast, all the way down to the Gulf Coast.
So off seasons, we do scouting, looking for new areas for the upcoming season. Our season does kick off September 1st with an early teal in Wisconsin, so we are getting excited for that.
Excellent stuff. And talk about too, as far as the birds coming and going and hunting and all this kind of stuff, the importance of conservation in wetlands.
Well, that's a big deal. So, we just talked about that we're a hunting show, and that really runs in Wisconsin 60 days, and we go beyond that because we follow the birds south. But the real big deal on the off season is we do a lot of scouting. We're out in the fields, out in the marsh a lot of times, and we like to give back to that, which is conservation.
So the importance of wetland is, one of our key important items for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So as far as projects that you're affiliated with, I'm sure there's some local, state, regional. Talk about those.
Okay, so we're affiliated with Wisconsin DNR and Wisconsin Waterfowl Association. This year we did a cleanup project out at Rome.
So that's Rome, Wisconsin, Rome Pond. And what the Wisconsin Waterfowl Association ended up doing, they connected with the Wisconsin DNR, and they did a project cleanup, and it's almost like the Adopt a Highway, but it's Adopt a Wetlands program. So the Wisconsin Waterfowl Agency, they put in over 100 hours of volunteer work. We got about 10, 12 boats. There's 2 to 3 people, volunteers per boat. We go out in the marsh and actually pick up all the debris, any type of garbage.
Old
had a
lines.
Dumpster and literally filled the dumpster in a matter of about 3-4 hours.
And it was team effort.
Yep.
There was, a variety of kids, women, 2 men. Everybody pitched in to help out.
And these type of projects are all over Wisconsin. And it's really just to give back and try to preserve, the wetlands and be a good steward to the area so we can pass it on to future generations.
Well, you said you were in Rome, Wisconsin. Now, I heard that Rome wasn't built in a day, but Rome, Wisconsin might have been.
It might have been.
It's a teeny little town.
But, yeah.
Exactly. So basically, it sounds like a team effort what you guys end up doing, and, definitely brings a lot of good. And, of course, people can watch it. So where and when can they see you on Channel 57?
So Swiftwaters right now is airing currently as part of Weekends in the Wild. It's hunting block Saturdays and Sunday mornings.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be tuned in. I know people have asked me about the show as well, so we'll check it out, Weekends in the Wild. So Sean, Connie, thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot for having us. We're going to have a great season.
A special thank you to Conan Automotive in Stoughton for supporting local athletics. All right, let's bring in a familiar face right now. Perry Hibner, who's the communications director over at the Middleton Cross Plains School District. And Perry, always love talking to you about Middleton High School sports. They always seem to be doing well. The boys golf team, no exception, as they had another impressive run in state. What were some of the highlights?
Well, Emmett Erb won the Division I state title this year with a 6 under 138 total, the second best score in tournament history. He won by a whopping 7 shots, and his performance actually helped the Cardinals take second as a team. That's their best result at state since 2011 when they won the state title.
Wow, excellent. And they weren't the only ones having success. The boys tennis team did well too, didn't they?
Boys tennis did very well. Xavier Zonga in singles and Cody Markell and Danjin in doubles led the way. The Cardinals won the Big 8 tournament title, advanced to state team for the 7th time in 8 years, where they made the semifinals and lost to perennial power Milwaukee Marquette. So yeah, very good season.
Yeah, impressive. And, you know, the last time you were here, we were talking about baseball as well, and the Cardinals seem to be peaking. So how did they end up finishing up?
The comeback Cardinals is how we called them, because they had a number of comeback wins late in the year, including 2 at sectionals to advance to state, where they ended up losing their first game to Green Bay Preble, but 4-2. But very impressive showing. Even more impressive considering their star pitcher was hit with a line drive 3 batters into the game, but they still found a way to make it a competitive game before they bowed out.
Wow. Yeah. Well, that's tough, and nice for them to rebound after something like that. Talking about some other stuff going on, how about Perrin Hagge capped off an amazing track career at the state meet in La Crosse? What was the highlight there?
Amazing is certainly appropriate. Actually, 3 highlights. So he won the 1,600 meters, finished second in the 3,200, and finished fourth in the 800. He alone combined brought in 22 points as the Cardinals finished second in the boys team competition.
Wow. Now, how about on the girls' side of things? I know Samantha Valentine had a pretty impressive run at it too, didn't she?
She did. She took second in both the 800 and 1,600 and helped the Cardinals finish fifth. So, yeah, she had a great 4-year career for us.
Wow. Just the good news keeps coming and coming for the Cardinals sports teams. Absolutely love it. So there's something called the WSN Cup. And where did Middleton end up finishing in those standings, and what's that all about?
For the 3rd straight year, we finished second behind Heartland Arrowhead. And what it is it actually looks at the state tournament results for teams throughout the fall, winter, and spring sports season. So again, we had more than 800 points, just a little bit behind Heartland Arrowhead, and actually had more points than any other team in the state in the spring. So what it says is that we've got some very strong programs all year long.
Yeah, and you know, what does that all stem from? I mean, in your opinion, does that start, at the top? Is that an athletic director thing? Is it boosters? Is it family? How does that all culminate?
I think it's everything. We're pretty fortunate. We've got very strong youth programs. We've got great leadership from athletic director Bob George. We've got wonderful coaches, and we've got very dedicated athletes. It all plays a role.
Always nice to have some good news coming out of Middleton, and that seems like great stuff. Perry, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
My pleasure, Rich. Thank you.
Thanks for watching the sports news. A big thanks to all of our guests as well, and also a huge thanks to the Red Zone over on Regent Street, Rick and all the boys, and Conant Automotive over in Stoughton for supporting local sports. Thank you for watching. My name's Rich Reynolds. You've been watching the sports news right here on Channel 57 Sports.